Signs and symbols rule the world, not words nor laws. Confucius. It should say worlds, plural, because world is a time, not a place. If you understand the language, it's a world age, or the world ages. You have ages that are represented by our constellation, or the signs, right? The signs in the heavens. And then you have aeons, which are 1/4. An aeon is 3 ages. And there are 4 aeons and 12 ages to represent the entire circle, or one time around the wheel. But words is my thing. This is how it all began with me, was language. And sentence structure and syntax of the different languages. The things that make the languages different from one another. And I followed the patterns. I started noticing patterns in different groups of languages that were connected to each other. How the languages evolved from one another, trying to find that original source. It became almost an obsession with me very young, when somebody handed me a Bible and I read it, and I saw that the tongues were divided in Babylon. I knew I had to understand what that meant. And it's taken 5 decades for me to get this far. I hope to save a lot of you what I had to go through in the path I had to walk to achieve that. But it is simple as this. You can scream words all you want. Laws don't rule. Laws confine. They confine. Their parameters, their borders, their boundaries. But what I came to understand happened at Babylon was there was one language. That's what it tells us. There was one language, and it was divided into the tongues. Period. And I've explained that many times, how that's done. Now, the original language was one of symbols. And we say a picture paints 1,000 words. But that comes from an old Arabic saying. At least that's how I get it. It's probably much older than Arabic, but it's from there that I have my understanding. So we say 1,000 words, but in the Arabic it's 10,000. One symbol, one image tells you so much, can mean so many things. In understanding what they've done to the languages, especially the Bible, or religious text in general, is they use a thesaurus, and they change the meaning of words, like world. World is not a place, it's a timeline. It should say world age. A world is a constellation, the same thing as a sign in the heavens. And then we have aeons, which are 3 worlds. You have 3 worlds in one. It's called an aeon. And the zodiac is divided up into 4 aeons with 3 constellations in them. And the markers for those aeons are the solstices and the equinox, the grand celestial cross. Everything is marked off of it. So, language, the first language was a symbolic language. And to me, it's alchemy in its purest form. These symbols are found all over the world, through every age, through every world, through all signs. In all religious text, the imagery that it describes, the adjectives used in the text will describe to you the sign or the symbol. And it shows a whole new meaning than what is being conveyed in just the words. So, the reason that signs and symbols rule the ages is because they're ruled by the subconscious. And the subconscious doesn't speak words. The universe doesn't speak words. It speaks in symbols. Nature doesn't speak words. She speaks in symbols. Symbols. Symbology. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Even the Bible tells us that on the fourth day, the sun and the moon were created firstly and foremost for signs. And then for seasons, the dividing of the ages, the seasons, the 4 aeons are represented by the 4 seasons. One time around that circle. So, let's take a look at the basic symbols and see how they relate to us. We have as above, so below, as without, so within. And you can reverse that. As below, so above. That's what the powers that be have been doing. Instead of the stars serving us, we're serving them. They reversed everything. And I'll show you. The symbols will show you. So let's just start. We have a dividing line in the body. Everything above this line, your solar plexus, is heaven and earth. Everything below this line is the battle of fire and ice. Above this line, on the top, you have this symbol, Saturn. And then you have, which is an air sign. And you have 2 signs above, and that's them. You have 2 signs below, fire and water. Down here, you have Mars, and you have Mars and Jupiter. The sun and the moon are one. They are eclipsed, or you can do sun, moon. But they make one. They're power sources. And they can be used to run above, or they can be used to run below. But they dominantly rule this area. Sun, moon, Mars, and Jupiter. You have Mars, the moon, the sun, and Jupiter. Above, you have Mercury, Venus, and Saturn using these 2 symbols. Now, we've been living in the battle of fire and ice for so long, and these symbols have been erased all over the world. They were forbidden by the god of the age of Aries, Mars, the god of fire, cardinal fire. He said, "Thou shalt have no graven images of anything on heaven or earth." That's because only fire and water were allowed. Because that's what Mars rules. Mars rules cardinal fire in Aries and fixed water in Scorpio. So let's take a look at the symbols compared to themselves and see what they tell us. So you have water and fire and air. These are the 2 masculine symbols. And here's the difference between them. We're shown on the dollar bill that they cut this, and it wants to make it look like that, but it can never be that because it has this line down here. This line down here tells us that's the masses, that's the chattel, that's the people. And then you have the elite on the top, right? They're a select group. They're our masters. They're an imposter air sign is what they are, because their sign is this. And the difference between this and this is here, the bottom, us, is at the bottom. But here, the bottom has been brought up. What the elite are doing is cutting out the middle class so that there are only the serfs and the masters. They want to eliminate the middle pillar, the middle path, the middle everything. Only serfs and masters. They're breaking apart their own pyramid. Okay? But this one, it brings the bottom people up. And everybody is on the top. Everybody. Just like that. There is no group. It's all consolidated. You're all together. All in one space. Earth and air. When we look at the zodiac, and we've talked about this so many times, how the planets are divided. Mars is in Scorpio and Aries. Jupiter is in Sagittarius and Pisces. Venus is in Libra and Taurus. But Saturn is Capricorn and Aquarius, side by side, not divided. That crown chakra is not divided. So we can look at it this way. Saturn rules this, and it's not divided. But because we're in a world age that's ruled down here, that has this duality of left, right, masculine, feminine, left brain, right brain, conscious, subconscious, him, her, war, peace, hot, cold, dark, light. That's all ruled by what I'm going to call the underworld. I'm really tired of Saturn being demonized, but I get it. It's kind of like the Democrats. They do something and then accuse Trump of doing it. Right? Projection. It's projection. The trick is to come out of duality. Turn off. Yeah, the trick is to get out of duality. Get off those two pillars. And move to heaven on earth. Get out of the battle of fire and ice. We're so done with that. Let me get my pen back. Now, we have a 2020 winter solstice Saturn Jupiter conjunction. And when Saturn and Jupiter meet, the door to the Black Lodge opens. It sets the stage for the next 20 years. The Black Lodge is the subconscious mind. It's ruled by signs and symbols, by imagery. And our imagery has been perverted. They put this imagery on logos all over your clothes, your shoes, your cars. Anything you purchase must have a symbol, a sign, a logo that's going to represent one of the chakras in your body. That's going to represent one of the 7 planets in our solar system. And they relate back to the constellations that they rule. So the perversion of the symbols causes the collective to manifest constant battle of fire and ice. And it's time for the cycle to be broken. They're manipulating the timelines. They're trying to change the times and the seasons, the worlds and the ages. And they do it by symbolism, just like I showed you in the last 2 videos about the Chi Rho. The Chris is the mark for this age. The Chi. The Rho part is not supposed to be here. It's not supposed to have a part in this age. But it dominates this age. All because of a symbol. All because of symbolism. You must have the correct symbolism. We're told in Revelation, when judgment comes, that they will start hiding their images and their idols in the rocks so they don't get caught with them. That screams volumes of books to me. I can't tell you how important it is to learn the basic symbols, just the basic ones. Everything is built off of these 4 and the circle. Everything is built off of these 4 and the circle. And Freemasonry. You have the 2 pillars and the ladder. One pillar represents the square, and the other represents the compass, right? We always see that square and compass, right? So what does the middle pillar, what is its representation? The Bible tells us what that is. When you're building something, you have a square and a compass to measure by. But after you build, or when you're in the process of building, to be able to check that you're in line, you have to have a plumb line. And Christ, or the middle pillar, tells us he's the plumb line. He's not a square. He's not a compass. He's a plumb line. And you dangle it, and gravity pulls that weight down to the bottom, and it makes a perfectly straight line with no deviation, no curves, no curls, and you measure everything by the plumb line. And it looks like this. A plumb line, we call it like a pendulum. A pendulum. You can put whatever you want on the bottom. They generally use the triangle because you have it come to a point. And when you shine the light on this, it makes a shadow, and you'll know where to mark. You'll know where to mark. They even use it to tell time. You can use this to tell time. You hang a plumb line, and you watch how the sun casts the shadow from the plumb line, and it tells you what time it is. And these are symbols of nature. Earth, water, air, and fire. The four elements that everything is built on. And then you have the symbolism of the planets, the sun and the moon. And you can scratch this Uranus, Neptune, Pluto symbolism, because that's all bogus. That's all been given to us in the last 200 years. Some of it even less. So it's not part of the original arcane knowledge. It's been added. The adversary adds a verse. The advertisement to entice the mind. So you have this set of symbology. You have the alchemical table of elements, which is equivalent to the symbology in alchemy. The symbols that make up these signs tell you everything about it. They tell you how much of each of these is embedded within it, because all of it comes from here. All of it comes from here. The air and the earth in the original symbols shouldn't have a bottom on it. They shouldn't have that bottom. In the original, it is just open. It's this way. Earth. That's why this is the Aleph. If I put that there, then that's not an Aleph anymore. The Aleph and the Tau. I am the air, and I am the cross. Alpha and Omega. I am the air, and I am the first one is Aleph Tau, which is Aquarius. The other one is Aleph Omega, which is Libra. You have to learn who is speaking. And you do that by the imagery, by the descriptive terms. Like I tell you, lake of fire, just think about it. Lake, mutable. Not water, but fire. It's mutable. It's a lake. It's a we have liquid, solid, gas. Liquids are mutable. Solids are fixed for the fixed cross. And gases are noble for the cardinal signs. So anytime something is said in a liquid state, wine, water, blood, all of this, you're talking about mutable. And then you add the element, earth, water, air, fire. And it's describing to you one of these symbols. And then you know which God is speaking. Because those books, you've been taught there is a God and there is a devil. Wow. There are many gods and many devils because everything in duality. Everything is broken apart. except Saturn, except that crown chakra. And that's where we're headed to. We're headed to being ruled by the crown chakra. The god of Aries gave us the law. When we moved into the age of Pisces, we moved from the law, out from under the law, into grace and mercy. And the Pope's already shut the mercy door. So we move into a time of Aquarius, which is alchemy, which is you reap what you sow. The law of equivalent exchange. To get something, you must give something. It is karma. That's why I'm always telling you to bank your karma. You will need it. We all will. There is no more mercy and grace. It's fixing to get, if they force us, it's not actually time to move into the new age. This is all we're being railroaded into it when it's not time. They've sped up the times and the seasons. They're changing them. They do these rollback rituals. We talked about that so many times. They've been doing that for a long time. That's Walmart's job. And if you notice, even the colors of Walmart, how it's changed over the years. It went from the blue and white, then it moved to the yellow and black, and it just keeps moving all over the place. They keep shifting the pieces around on the chessboard, trying to use the symbolism to affect the collective subconscious so that they can remain in power and we remain asleep. And these people out screaming that they're woke, they're in the middle of a nightmare and don't even know it. But when they do wake up, and everybody will, these are the ones that will wake up to shame and self-condemnation. When you die, you life review. You judge yourself. Your higher self shows you everything you've done from a perspective you've never seen. If you've ever had a near-death experience and you've experienced that life review, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you life review, you're literally right beside your higher self, and you're both looking down on you at your life, and you see it from your higher self's perspective, and you see it from the people's perspective that you interacted with in your life. You see it from there. If you hurt somebody, you get to experience the hurt you caused them, literally. If you cause them joy, you get to experience that. So all you people that have been done wrong and you just want them to know how you feel, well, they will. Everybody will, including you and me. We all going to get to know. And it's not that we learn anything, we're just remembering. We remember. We're a member implies group. And that's bringing all the worlds back together as one. In the zodiac, like we're in the age of Pisces, so everything's ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter rules two things. He rules empire and desire. He controls religion and philosophy and ideology. And he rules through Europe and Asia. So it's all European ideology, all Asian ideology. And he's trying to bring the two together. That Christianity and that Islam as one. The battle of fire and ice. He keeps trying to shove them back together. That's Europe. I know this is Europe. Europe is pointed down and Asia, fire, is pointed up. And what they're doing is blending it by, they keep swirling it. They keep turning it. Upside down. Fire on ice, ice on fire. One becomes the other. Let's migrate all the Muslims into Europe, and let's take all the Jews out of Europe and Russia and bring them to the Middle East, Asia. Turning it around. Because that's the way it used to be. The Jupiterians used to rule Asia, not Europe. And the fire worshippers, the sun worshippers, used to rule Europe. Now they're in Asia. Everything's flipped from the way it was before, but it's going to flip back. When we get through this next 2 ages of Capricorn and Aquarius, both ruled by our higher self, Saturn, we come back around to mutable fire, which is Jupiter in fire. That means Europe in Asia. The Jupiterians are now in Asia, and they're going to go there. They're hell-bent on it. But it's a hell they're creating for their own selves, because somewhere along the line, it was these same fire worshippers in cardinal fire that manipulated the script. They are the scribes. The fire worshippers are the scribes that scribble the scriptures. And you can see how they've learned to believe their own lies. Somewhere along the line, they believed their own lies. And the evidence of that today is the solar pillar is bent. The solar pillar leans to the left by 23.5 degrees on the celestial clock. That's how off they are, almost by an entire age. And they're still trying to roll it back, still living in the past, cannot accept the future. And those are traits very much of the cardinal cross, with the masculine axis without the balance of the feminine axis. When you don't have that Capricorn Cancer influence, that Aries Libra gets out of control. Libra gets jealous and arrogant, to where Aries emotions, Mars, gets rage and war, vengeance, greed, retaliation, domination. I'll make you do it. That's what we're dealing with right now. And when you mix those two together without that feminine balance, we're in trouble. Now, what they've given us as the feminine movement is so faux pas, it's incredible. It's not a feminine movement at all. It, like every other institution, is ruled by men. Just like the Vatican should be ruled by the women, but the men put on the dresses and they go rule. Same thing happened in femininity. The men just changed their genders, became the women, and that's what Hollywood gives you. They're not natural. They're not God-created women at all. They have a Y chromosome, and you're never going to get rid of that. I don't know, you got a vaccine for that one too? Add that other leg. It's the one-legged man. Him and her. One-legged man. He's just missing a leg. You might change the appearance, but you can never change your chromosomes, your DNA, your blood type. That will always remain the same. So everything is faux pas. It's an imitation. They're trying to imitate what the true higher self, that crown chakra, and they hate the crown. You've got to learn the symbolism, and time is running out. You have until this Saturn Jupiter conjunction, and then you're going to be stuck living the next 20 years with whatever symbolism you've embraced, whatever logos you have on your clothes. And if you want to dispel something, you just do the circle with the line through it. Here's a good symbol. This is to dispel, right? Circle with the line through it. This is the symbol of what we call phi. Some say phi, right? No, that's an I. It's phi. You have pi and phi. Pi is to square the circle. Phi is the circle. Phi is the mathematical construct of nature, and this is its symbol. Its ratio is 1.618. Pi's ratio is 3.14159. So this is your symbol that you want. You want the symbol of nature in conjunction with the symbol of air, the symbol of the Tau, and the symbol of earth. Those are the symbols you want. Now's the time to hide the symbols of fire and ice in the rocks, because the three-eyed raven is coming. Because this place is not ruled by your words, your deeds, none of it, your emotions. The universe is not subject to any of that. It only gives you what you're presenting to it. When you embrace these symbols, when you purchase these clothes with these symbols on it, these shoes, these cars, you are empowering that God, that power behind that symbol. You buy a Mercedes, oh, you're all about water in Europe. Straight up. Because that's, and the moon. Cardinal water even. That's the symbol of Cancer. Cardinal water. The moon. Okay, back to our little man. Again, everything below this line has these two symbols. Everything above the line has these two symbols. You start with Mars, Jupiter, Moon, Sun, Venus, Mercury, Saturn. Purple, red, in accordance with the chakras. And what they've done with the rainbow flag is they've put, excuse my French, but instead of thinking with your higher self, you're thinking with this head, you're thinking with this head. And it's all sexual and it's all emotional. And that's what they've done. Everything is about gender, sexuality, and emotions. That's what LGBTQ is about. It's about gender, sexuality, and emotion. And the only way to disempower them is to turn that flag the way it's supposed to be. And then people tell me, but the rainbow in the heavens red is on top. Well, you know what? Everything up there is mirrored down here. So the purple of heaven meets the purple below. The two purples meet and they spread out and mirror each other. So our purple is supposed to be on top. It's not supposed to image the heaven, it's supposed to mirror the heavens. And this is wherein the error lies. I love that. The error lies. It tells lies. So the question again from the last two videos, what do I need to be doing? You need to be doing the symbolism. You need to be dispelling all the symbols of Jupiter, Mars, the Sun, and the Moon. Actually, you can actually keep the Sun because it's part of the next stage, but it comes under the authority of Saturn. All of them do. And we're going to see a glimpse of that starting on the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. We're starting to see it. We'll get the picture will begin to reveal itself as soon as Saturn turns around. As soon as Saturn comes out of retrograde at the end of the month and starts going in the other direction, day by day, it's going to start revealing itself more and more until the conjunction happens. And then we get to see what I call true authority. True authority. Because right now, all we got is chaos. What's happening on the left and then the right sitting around, I don't know what y'all are waiting on. If y'all are going to play the Game of Thrones, if you're going to get in the Battle of Fire and Ice, Why do y'all just, what they call you, the silent majority? I don't know. My advice is to get the hell out of that battle. If you want to move into the next age, you're going to have to go with the signs and symbols for the next age. If you want to stay here in this chaos, in this world, and play the Game of Thrones, then you will, if that's the symbology that you're carrying. I can't tell you how many cultures talk about us going off into dividing timelines. I can't tell you the Mandela effect, and that's the proof of it. They're trying to blend timelines. No, we're moving away from the past and into the future. They're trying to take you and keep you in the past, in that daydream, in that fairy tale Game of Thrones. Oh, it's so exciting. It's a thrill a minute. Rush, thrill, adrenaline, war, adrenaline. It's just so Martian. You just love it. Wrong kind of love. Love is a verb, not a damn feeling. If you feel it, then that's coming from Mars. That ain't coming from Venus. It's coming from Mars. Because love is something you do. Love is giving. 1 Corinthians 13. Though I speak with the tongue of men and angels, and have not charity, I am become a sounding brass, or a tinkling cymbal. Charity, we translate that to the word love. It's love. And though I have the gift of prophecy, and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not love, it profiteth me nothing. It has to be done with a kind heart. Love suffereth long, and is kind. Love envieth not. No Libra, no arrogant Libra. Love vaunteth not itself. That's Leo. That's self-vaunting. That's the negative side of Leo. It's not puffed up. Puffed up is very Aries. Doth not behave itself unseemly. Wow, we do a lot of that in Pisces, don't we? It seeketh not her own. Her. Now that's unusual, because in the original Greek, there's no her there. It. It goes back to the word love, the subject. So love, in its proper state, is feminine. Is not easily provoked. Libra is the masculine aspect of the heart. Taurus is the feminine aspect of the heart. Our hearts are torn between heaven, Libra, and earth, Taurus. But to enjoy them, there must be balance. And it's hard to get balance on that cardinal cross. It gets puffed up. Doth not behave itself unseemly. Seeketh not her own. Is not easily provoked. Thinketh no evil. Rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth. Beareth all things, believe all things, hope all things, endure all things. Love never faileth, but where there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Where there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. So we have perfection coming. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. We have not done this. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know even as I am known. That's just So an Aquarian statement. Now abideth faith, hope, and love, these three, but the greatest of these is love. And the word charity is used because it implies the verb give. It means you give expecting nothing in return. That's that banking that karma. That's what that is. It's that anonymous donation. It's that gift you leave outside the family's house that didn't have nothing for Christmas. You don't shame them by taking and buying their children Christmas. You just simply leave the gifts at the stoop and you go away with this beautiful joy and light in your heart, knowing you'll never be recognized for it. But you get to vicariously see and experience the joy on their faces when they see it. That is what this place is supposed to be about. I didn't understand it when I came here. What the hell is wrong with you people? Why you treat each other this way? You call this family? Now, I want to say something about this, because when the shit hit the fan for me and it started to fall apart, I was angry. I was mad as hell, and I had no love left. None whatsoever. I was almost being consumed with anger about this. But then in 1 hour, in the same self hour that I let that anger go, and I started walking back in love, and I just put it aside. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I disciplined myself and removed myself from that anger. And I'm going forward the best way I know how, and that is in love. And so I did. I made that decision, and I made an action on that decision. I changed my course, my direction. I shifted my sails, and immediately everything started falling into place for me. Immediately. I didn't get the house. I got a better house. I didn't get the yard. I got a better yard. I got everything was better. Everything. And it's what I wanted to begin with. But I settled for less to appease others, because they thought they knew what we needed. So I'm moving forward with no animosity, no hatred, because I don't want that living in me. I cannot stand anxiety, worry, fear of any kind. It's just, it makes me ill, and I have to purge it from myself. Nobody can do that for me but me, and nobody can do that for you but you. You have to let go. And I know it's hard to do. I'm no different than any of you. I'm Capricorn, which means I'm probably more self-disciplined than a lot of you. But I've walked a tough road to get to that. I've walked a harder road than you have to get there. But hanging on to the past, wow, that's what the powers that be are doing. And they're becoming angry, and they want to burn it all down before they let the people of the age of Aquarius have this place. They would see it destroyed first. Now that's pretty pathetic, if you ask me. That's the same thing Black Lives Matter's doing. They're manifesting that energy. We don't like you. We hate you. You can't have this. And if we can't have it, then we'll just burn it down. We'll take everything you've got. I felt like I'd been looted by Black Lives Matter. Left me with the clothes on my back. Same energy. Went straight through them, and they had no power to resist it. They had no love at all. They didn't think of me at all. I was never considered at all, even from the beginning. And it took a lot for me to lay that down. But the minute I did, everything changed. The minute I started getting off that solar pillar of anger, and not even considering that lunar pillar of mercy, they don't exist to me. I got back on that middle path. That Venus, Mercury, Saturn, Venus and Saturn predominantly, because Mercury is what's wreaking this shit here. In the next 2 ages, Mercury has no part. Jupiter has no part. And Venus and Saturn are going to be exactly opposite of what they are now. Venus is no longer going to be that Libra, arrogance, masculine, unbalanced energy we've been given, but it's going to be that Taurus, fixed earth. And Mars is going to move from that card. We're going to strip the cardinal cross. Let me show you what's fixing to happen. So this is the problem right here. We've talked about this in the last few videos. Come on. Mars up here must be removed from the cardinal cross and from cardinal fire, and he's going to be brought down in rank to fixed water. Fixed water means stable. It's a solid. When you think of water in its 3 states of matter, its mutable state is where we are now. We're in Pisces, mutable water, and it's liquid. Then you're going to move to fixed water, which is like an ice cube. It's frozen. It's solid. That would represent Scorpio. And then you have cardinal water, which is Cancer. And that would be water in its vapor state. Like you boil water and its humidity or fog. Fog would be considered cardinal water, because it's in a vaporized state of matter. So Venus is going to move from Libra. Now, when we're looking at this symbol, to start with, this is the zodiac. If you notice, it's cut up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces. It's the whole zodiac. This is the symbol for Aries. This is the symbol for I might have those backwards. Let me show you a better one than that, because this is an ancient one. Hold on. This is one of the older ones. The Aleph and the Omega, and Mars for fire. Cardinal fire. Alpha, Omega. Alpha, Heir, Omega, Libra. And that's what's superimposed over this age. And if this symbol was destroyed, then she could walk away free, which is the X. But they're out to get her. They're out to get her and dominate her and rule over her. You know, Moses and Aaron killed their sister. That's why, and that was the age of Aries. That's why there's no balance there. They had no feminine balance. It became very extreme toxic masculinity with no feminine balance to it. Now what we need to do is get rid of that symbol. Let me take us verifying who is who. You have the 4 corners, the 4 flowers, the 2 pots and the 2 flowers on the bottom for the 4 aeons. And this symbol wants to rule it all. That's what this symbol says. It's a symbol that says this power superimposed over this age for all time. For all time. That's what they're doing. We have to, and it's going to happen itself. Like I said, I think the scribes scribble the scriptures, and over the ages they have become to believe their own scribble without realizing it's a lie. And those that do realize it's a lie ain't telling the others. They're only going to give one side a compass and the other side a square. But there's no plumb line to prove that it's true. A plumb line proves that the angle is true, that the building is There's a word. It's true. That's what I would use. I can't find a better word. That the line is true. And we're fixing to move into the plumb line. The next lodge does not have a square, and it does not have a compass. It has a plumb line. And that's where we're going. It's not going to be builders anymore. The plumb line measures and judges if the angle is true to what the builders have done. And the plumb line says they're in trouble because the shit they've built won't stand. They've mixed iron Mars with the clay of Pisces and Virgo, and it will not stand. It's coming down. The rest of the image remains. It's the feet of Nebuchadnezzar that are destroyed. Those 10 toes. Those 10 ages that this has been going on, this battle of fire and ice. They played it over and over again. But this time, they mixed with miry clay. And it won't work. Their little symbol for power. Power. They worship the god of forces or power. Fortresses, security and power. Power is security. And they control the knowledge. Like I said, I think they've come to believe their own lies. That's what most narcissists do. They actually believe that shit. They believe the shit they spew out of their mouth. I've been around enough of them. I was raised by one. I was a bartender for years. Not unlike being a psychiatrist or a therapist. People pay you to tell you their problems. And I learned a lot about people and about human nature. Now this is the zodiac. This is the age. The X is the age that we're in. It's the mutable cross. We're on the age of the mutable cross. We're on the feminine axis of the mutable cross. Her. And he hates her. Let's talk about the symbolism of the letters. He and her. Oh, I wish I should try to at least get me a mouse. Her. She has something he doesn't have. She has the rrrr, and that's power. Rrrr, he don't have that. He has the ha and a vowel that don't count. All he has is the ha. She has the ha-ra. Even H is considered a vowel and variable. Ibrahim was changed to Ibrahim or Abraham. Vowels don't count and the H don't count because it's used like a vowel. So she has something he will never have, and that's a rrr. Him, her, she, he. She has the S, she has the R, and all he got out of any of that was an M. So we have an M versus an SR. A Sa and a Ra. Sa is a hidden secret knowledge, and Ra is the power. Rrr. But M, it says and that's the sound. Om is the sound of the sun. Fire. The Tibetans do it. They do the Om for the sun. And we'll see that in the next age, because Leo is definitely opposite Aquarius. The Christ has the sun under his feet. He's walking on the sun. He's walking on streets paved of gold. Leo. It's walking on streets paved of gold. So it's the sun under the authority of Saturn, Aquarius. That's what's going to get rid of this. This, we've been through this. We have the mutable cross where we are now, being dominated from the past by this symbol that should not be used. And that symbol is going to shift. And when it does, it changes to this cross, superimposed over her. And then you get, hold on, this symbol. That's what we get. Sometimes you see it like this, much smaller and angled in. And not so squared. Squared is what this should be right here. This. The only other way to fix this problem is to bring in its counterbalance, which would put a line here. Nope, I'm wrong. Hold on. Because that don't look like that. I'm thinking fixed and I'm doing cardinal now. It will do this. And it will make, you'll have the X. Remember how we did the phi symbol? It's missing its feminine part to balance it out. But we don't want that at all. We don't. We don't even want that. We don't want a part of that past. We need Mars to come out of fire and go into water. We need Libra to come out of cardinal air and go into fixed earth. And that's exactly what's going to happen. No matter what the powers that be do, the symbols rule. So if you want to move into the kingdom, then start using the correct symbology. Start putting it everywhere, on your clothes, whatever. When you see these symbols, come on. Everything's lagging. Start disempowering them. Put a circle and that line through it. No. Disempower it. Not allowed. Not allowed. Use their own symbols against them. That's the only way to win this. You screaming, getting upset, standing in a line, holding a flag, that ain't going to do anything. Turn that flag around. And then you don't even have to hold it. Just hang it. I encourage every freaking one of you, go get a rainbow flag, put it in your house with purple on top, and don't say a word. Turn that bumper sticker upside down and don't say a word. And watch that energy start to change. The subconscious of people you'll meet will get right in line. And the ones that are bound to that upside down cross, they will become angry about it without even realizing it. They might not even notice it, but their subconscious does. Get rid of the square and compass. Get out of the fire and ice. Get rid of the water symbol and the fire symbol. Embrace the air and the earth. Embrace the fixed cross. Embrace the fixed cross over the mutable cross. That will stabilize the whole age. Put these symbols in your home. Put them over your doors. Put them on your mirrors. You ladies, take your lipstick and write these symbols on your mirror. So it's there when you look at it in the morning and it's reflecting back at you. This is sigil magic. Let's talk about sigil magic. I had a book. Oh my gosh. Out of everything that I lost, it kills me. Two things that I would give anything almost to have back. And that's my box of hard drives with 20 years worth of work that was taken from me. And all the gifts you people sent me. I kept every letter, every card, every gift. And I only have 2 things left that were sent to me, or given to me. And one is a tiny matchbox with the word Agni on it. It's literally my name from the Greek, my middle name. And a little tray with a fish on it that Susan sent to me when I first moved to Las Vegas. And she gave me things for the house to make it a home. She sent me several boxes full of stuff. And those are the only 2 things I have left. But that box of hard drives, because in there was the best book on sigil magic. It was so comprehensive, right down to everything. Everything is based on, come on, you have the line and the curve, the feminine and the masculine. And it's kind of in the phi symbol, right? You see that. You get the line and the curve. It's nature. The tree grows the line up, but it's all feminine. There's a him inside of her. But in this age, there's a him in her, but the her and him don't exist because they took this part away. And it's all done by symbolism. All of it. It's why we do what we do, and we don't even know it. So again, what do you need to be doing? Getting your symbolism correct. Now I have had another question that is repetitive. Where do I need to be? Only your cross can tell you that. Only your cross can tell you that. Your higher self can tell you that. If you're somewhere that you feel uncomfortable and you feel like you don't belong there or should not be there, then you need to move. A lot of you, we're fixing to have Pluto move out of Sagittarius. And when that happens, if you haven't done that alchemy of ideology, then Pluto's going to tear your whole world down anyway. You'll have to move whether you like it or not. It's time for change. And if you haven't made that change, it's going to be made for you. And it won't be easy because you're dealing with the most masculine negative energy from that masculine axis of the cardinal cross. We war not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities in high places. We war against symbology and the subconscious. They tell us lies to our conscious mind, but the subconscious knows the truth. I am so into reverse speech. That's one of my favorite things to watch. I watch RS analysis and David Coates, who is considered the author or grandfather of reverse speech. And it's literally your subconscious speaking. Some think it's your higher self speaking. I think maybe it's both. I think you're getting a little bit of both. I look at it from an alchemical perspective, and I kind of see it in a different way than it's actually being presented by the uploaders, the creators of the videos. But I encourage all of you to check out reverse speech. It's completely fascinating. So where you need to be, well, I've already warned you. Everybody needs to be off the coast. You need to get off the coastlines and you need to get out of the big cities because that's the targets. That's the targets. Always has been. This is the way they do this battle over and over again the same way. They've won it every other time in the past using the same trick play. It's like football. It's a sneak play in football. Well, now they're at the point where they're ready to do a Hail Mary. And they're going to spell it. Come on. They're going to do a Hail Mary. Boy, that's lagging. Look at that. They're going to do a Hail Mary. And Mary is maritime water. Mary is represented by the moon, Cancer. And they hate her, right? The moon could balance this guy out. Cardinal, water. Capricorn, it needs Capricorn and Cancer to balance that out. But I don't even want balance. I want it gone, because it don't belong in this age. It's part of the past. I'm ready to move to the future, and I know the symbolism to get us there. I know where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going. All by symbolism. This right here, oh my goodness, what it tells us. If you could just learn to read the signs. And that's what I'm trying to do on this channel. But so help me, I cannot do your homework for you. Some of you just need to sit down and start copying these symbols over and over and over. Start looking for them in everything you see. Decide what those symbols are saying. And should you embrace them or should you disempower them? The decision is yours. I put this food on the table. I can't make you eat it. That's up to you. If you don't like it, you can leave. Nobody's forcing you to be here. There's no charge at the door. Come on in, eat what you want. If you like what you had, leave a comment. Let me know. If you don't, tell me. I might change the recipe. And I've had suggestions that at the end of my videos, I need to give a summary. That's so hard for me to do because I don't have any notes. This is not pre-scripted. All of this comes right off the top of my head and right out of my heart as I'm being unctioned to do it. What's happening inside my brain is faster than can come out my mouth. And sometimes it's confusing to me. It's like I want to say, hey, slow down. Slow down. Let me get this out first before you dump something else on me. But then it sounds like I'm talking to somebody that's not here. And you'll think I'm crazy. But that's exactly what it's like. It's like I sit here and I get downloads. And this information is coming faster than I can comprehend it and get it out before the next one, and more and more and more. Like it's in such a hurry. It just all comes at one big dump. And it's hard to sort it out and then to find the words that I can give you without confusing you and making the problem worse. The last thing I want to do is confuse you, because in truth, this stuff, oh, can't do that again, keep forgetting. This stuff is so simple. Those little alchemy symbols are so simple that a child who has not been programmed can see it when you don't. Teach this to your children. Show them symbols. Explain to them what they mean. That's the best thing you can do for your child. That's the best thing you can do for the world. That's the best thing you can do for yourself, is to learn and to know that this is the greatest truth I have ever come across. And I learned it for myself. I did not hear this from Confucius, but when I did see this saying for Confucius, I had to agree 100%. That is the most truthful statement I've ever heard. Signs and symbols rule the ages, not words nor laws. All right, people, we're an hour into this. I think that's enough. I got a lot to do in the next few days. Trying to get scheduled an appointment to get internet installed in my new residence. And they're still working on it. It might be a few more days before I actually even get to attempt, which I don't have anything to move in but me and Kelly. But to even get in and put up curtains, they have redone the floors. shellac, polyurethane, stain, not sure what they put on it, but I can't even walk on it right now. And all right, people, go bank your karma. And I'd like to thank those who do donate to this channel. And if you haven't, consider it. Be a part of it. A lot of what you donate right now, especially, I'm using to send out these flash drives everywhere. And I'm almost caught up. And when I do get in, get my internet on, get caught up and get settled, I've reworked this whole thing so that it can continue to keep going. And everybody's going to be a part of it. If you got a flash drive, I'm going to send you extra flashes, empty ones, so that when somebody in your country wants one, I can just send you an address, you copy it and send it to them. It's going to be a pay it forward thing. It's going to be like a chain letter. And you are in a chain letter, you're required to make copies and send it out. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a chain drive. And when you get it, you'll get blank copies to go with it. Blanks, you copy them. That way I don't have to waste about an hour and 45 minutes per drive copying it. And then it helps save me that postage as well, to where I only have to send one package instead of 10. And it's much easier and cheaper for you to mail from inside your country than it is for me to mail overseas. And literally out of here, every post office around me has run out of customs papers. They keep telling me they've ordered them, whatever that means. How does the post office not ship to itself? That's just ridiculous. All right, people, I love y'all bunches. I hope this helped you. I'm trying to break this down in the simplest terms possible. I know I have a lot of new subs. This week alone, I've gained almost 500 subscribers in just 1 week. And y'all don't have a clue what's going on. And you're at a very advanced level of this. So you really need to go back to the beginning. And you need, all of those videos are there. You're asking me questions I've already answered. Every question I have been asked, I've already done the video. You just got to go watch it. Love y'all bunches. Bank your karma. We're all going to need it. Get your signs and symbols straight. You're going to manifest your own future, and you're going to do it with these. Not with your words, not with your wishes, not with your dreams, not with your wants and desires. You can only do it. You can only change the world by changing the signs and the symbols. Everything else will fall in line.